Hello, hello, hello. My name is Brian Kelly. Welcome to Create PDC. It is a new podcast that we're doing here in beautiful Playa del Carmen. We're about a block away from the beach, so we really are on the playa. It's called Create PDC because the idea is to showcase various creators and members of the community, people that we would like to, learn more about, get some recognition for things of that nature. And we're going to be doing this once every couple of weeks. So welcome to episode 1 right here in Fifth Avenue Sounds, a wonderful studio here in Playa as well. I might be a little biased. It's sort of our studio, but it's a cool place. Create PDC is a cool group that has formed here in Playa, and what it's for is kind of a meeting point and a place for creators to get together, share, discuss what they do, all that good stuff, make connections, networking. I think it's a really great thing. It's something that Playa needs. I've been around Playa for a good while, and have seen as needs have both developed and be filled like this. So it's really cool, the community. Anyway, moving forward on episode 1, we have Miss Angela Shurina. Say hello.
Thank you, Brian, for inviting me to be guest on Create PDC.
Absolutely, absolutely. I am happy that you are here and that you agreed to be here. It's
Absolute pleasure.
yeah, definitely. Now, let me go ahead and begin, or back up a little bit before we get into specific stuff. I mentioned Create PDC a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
You actually began that group
Yes.
last year, right? Do you want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. When I arrived to Playa, whenever I arrive to a new place as a digital nomad, I try to create some communities because as a human being, you need some friends, you need community to feel good, about life in your life. And I wanted to create a group around creation of something, right? Because I feel very passionate about the act of creation, and I feel like we human beings here are to express like ourselves and to create something of value, something that speaks through us. And I wanted to create a group for people to come together to connect on that act of creation and to help each other, to learn, to support each other, to meet like-minded people. And I started that, and it started small and then grew.
Sure.
And now it exists by itself without me.
Yeah, and we pre-gamed a little bit on this before, and it seems like somewhat of a trend that you bring people together and like to find like-minded people and create things
Yeah.
like that. I think it's very interesting that in many ways it seems, and we'll get into this, that Playa del Creators, which, by the way, let me clarify, the name of the podcast is Playa del Creators.
Mm-hmm.
Create PDC is the group of the sort of the social group that's behind it, right? But one of the goals is to showcase these creators, and it seems like here on episode 1, what we have is a creator of people.
Yes.
Like you're a person creator. From what I gather, it's speaking to you, but you can tell me
Yeah.
if I'm wrong about that.
Besides creating communities, I'm a coach, and I'm very passionate about, my first website blog was createyourself.today.
Today.
Yes.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah,
cool.
you can do anything these days. And I'm very passionate about this idea of designing the self.
Yeah.
Like, you have an idea of yourself in your head, who you'd like to be and what you'd like to create in this world. And the beauty of a human being is that you can do that. Like, you can mold and shape yourself depending on where you see yourself going, right? And so I'm very passionate about this idea. And as a coach, I kind of like gravitated towards the same area where I help people to become the version of themselves that they want to be, that they see themselves being, right? Looking, feeling, doing their best. And obviously, you can go about that in different ways. So I just became a coach, and I help people to shape their health and mind and fitness to feel and look who they want to feel and look like.
That's awesome. So, excuse me. You mentioned the idea of sort of getting people to where they feel like they should be going. In that same vein, is coaching where you felt like you should be going? Like, did you sort of first find that path because coaching is where you wanted to be? Like, I know you mentioned that that's your passion, but was that always your passion? Like, was that something that was always part of you, or did it sort of naturally or organically develop that, what I really care about is helping people? Like, how big of a part of that of your life has helping people been?
I think it's always been a huge part of my life. It's like I kind of naturally grew up being that person, and people always, like, very often would come to me for advice. It's like I had this confidence about things, I don't know, that I always had. And then in school, I used to lead dance classes and fitness classes, and then I continued in university, and I was always starting some communities and helping people to change. And then after I got my degree in computer science and economics and worked for a little bit in that, I felt that I wanted to continue that path of helping people because that's what I felt most passionate about. And I got into fitness and then into health and then now into brain performance coaching. And again, I just feel very comfortable in helping people to get where they want to go. I just feel like I have a natural talent of feeling what would help people the best.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that there's, they say that it's impossible to be worried about your own, problems and issues and anxieties while you're actively in the middle of helping somebody else do something, right? And so I think that there's a benefit to helping people and a beauty in that. But on the other side of that, one thing, and I'm curious about, is that sometimes you try to help somebody and they don't want your help, or they just don't get to where it is that you're trying to help them get to. Have you had a lot of experiences like that where you're just kind of bummed, like you really felt like you could help somebody more, but it just couldn't get there? Like,
I think
I'm not trying to be negative or anything. I like to examine both
yeah.
sides of things.
I think mostly that happened in family, and I think for a lot of people it happens in families or with friends. Like, as a coach, people hire you, people pay you to help them to change. It's like, if they resist you, like, why would they hire you, right? But for example, when you're trying to help a friend or a family member, you want to help them, but a lot of times they don't want your advice. In fact, you might be the last person who they would listen to for one reason or the other, right? And
so it's not so much the advice you're giving, it's the package that it's coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
As a family member.
And what I learned is not to tell people what they should do, but ask them questions. That's actually a very powerful coaching technique. You ask people questions about where they are, where they want to go. And they kind of start getting to insight themselves. But I also, as a coach, I also consider myself more as a guide, not as someone who knows exactly what to do, meaning I help people to find their own truth.
Sure. Okay.
That's all I do, right? And with experience and age, I just learned that that's the only thing you can actually do to help people, to ask them the right questions at the right time and to kind of help them to see.
Guide them.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll find their own way by themselves.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. By the way, I am watching the YouTube comments on this, and Marie, who is a friend of ours, says hello from 30,000 feet.
My God.
She is literally in an airplane right now, flying to Salt Lake City, and is watching the podcast from an airplane.
Marie, hello to you.
Yeah. So I guess really what the takeaway from is that we already have a very international audience. People that are literally moving between nations as we broadcast.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I love about Playa also. You kind of like live in this hub and you get to meet people from all over the world not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's true. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that a little bit. Juan, would you mind bringing my screen up? I just brought up a picture of what appears to be quite a community. And this is the beginning of... this is when you began Create PDC here in Playa.
Yeah, that was
year.
one of the workshops that I organized and rented a space and brought people together with the idea to create videos for their social media and also share tips and techniques how to grow your social media through videos and what are some best practices. So that was just like everything else that I'm passionate about, creation and getting people together to learn and create together and also connect as human beings.
That's cool. That's cool. So I really, my first time coming to Playa, it was a lot different. It was like 5 or 6 years ago, right? And there were a lot of the same type of people here, but the organization and the sort of coming together that you're seeing now is not as common, or was not as common. But one such event like that, it was actually on the roof of Nest Co-working, is where I met Juan, who is my partner in this studio, and also in multiple bands, multiple projects. And if it had not been for an event here in Playa del Carmen, this place that we're in wouldn't be. Well, I'm sure this building would be here, but there certainly would be way less cool people in it. That's for sure. So it really, like, I can personally sort of testify to how important and how powerful it is to have that community element and people like you that start that, because there are many people that would think that it's a good idea. Juan, if you want to go back to my screen. There are many people that would think that it's a good idea, but would not take the initiative to actually organize that. But then an organizer like yourself comes along. This is another picture of it's that same group, right?
Yeah, same group. We always have like different people coming, going. And yeah, you're right. It's all about like people coming together and creating something that wasn't there. And I'm just also like I'm naturally a starter. Like I like to start things, right? And that's why I'm like, okay, there is an idea, so let me start it.
So I'm going to have another picture here. I'm not sure where we're at now. If we can make sure my screen's up. This is a picture of you speaking at an event here in Playa, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
When I came here, at some point I realized that I wanted to practice my public speaking skills that were like I haven't practiced any speaking for a while. And there was this event, Present Your Pitch, and where people would come present some idea, maybe their business, and then they would network or collaborate, talk to each other. And the first week that when I came here, I went to one of those events and I gave this, mini speech, and I almost cried during that, but then it got me going, and I started speaking at almost every event, and then got to this event to speak.
Yeah, here's another event on my screen as well. This is a collage from, and now is this is also here in
yes, in Playa del Carmen, Nomad Based organized their one of their events here, and they brought together more than 200 people. And that was, one of my bigger talks in front of live audience that I absolutely love doing. Yeah.
Well, I think that the question on the tip of everybody's tongue is, what is happening here with this guy? Why is there a man doing a squat at your event? Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on there?
Yeah, so all of my talks and anything that I do, I like to bring value to people, give people tools, teach people something. And there is nothing like moving your body, doing something, that you wouldn't usually do, especially at an event like that will make you to remember, certain things or skills. And so during my talk, I made people get up and squat and do some breathing exercises. And those exercises were to help people to improve blood circulation towards their brain so they could stay productive working on their computer, right? And so I made everyone to stand up and take a few squats and do breathing exercises. And actually, I don't know if the audience is interested, I learned this trick about how to make your audience give you standing ovation at the end of your talk. And what you do.
I'm interested, so I perform all the time. Let's hear it.
So what you do is you give people a reason to get up from their seats. In that case, I taught them the pose of a Superman or like Wonder Woman to improve their confidence. And so I made them all stand up, do this posture, and then I finished my talk and left, and everyone was standing and started clapping. So that's how you keep
the trickery.
Yeah. I got it from one of the books on public speaking, so I'm like, let me try that.
Speaking of speaking, if you want to bring up my screen again, Mr. One, this is not the only podcast that you
Yeah.
do. You want to speak a little bit about what we're looking at here, which is available on Spotify, right?
Yeah, it's everywhere actually. Wherever you can find your podcast, you'll find it everywhere. It's been around for about 4 years. It's my podcast, Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner. And the purpose of the podcast is to translate research, neuroscience, health, fitness, nutrition, and give people practical tools to use to feel, look, do their absolute best. And it's Monday to Friday usually, and I just jam for like 20 minutes every morning and deliver people value and tell stories about my life.
That's cool. By the way, going back to the chat, Bobby Gill, I've heard of him.
Yes, Bobby's
He's a
amazing.
bit infamous around Playa del Carmen. He says hello from. He's next door in the main studio. And
That's what I also, love about Playa. It's like friends everywhere. You just, meet
Well,
them
I know, and including
go-
ones that are just not on the ground currently.
Yeah.
And Mayakal says hi from Cancun. So we're spread out
Yeah,
amongst
Cancun.
folks.
Neighbor.
Yeah, Cancun. I've heard of it. Here, it's a nice place. So, So going back, do you want to speak to this right here? If
Yeah.
you want to come back to my screen, there's a Udemy course that you have as
you know
well,
what's
right?
interesting about this course that I didn't tell you before? It was created with one of my friends who I met here, and now he's in Canada for the time being, and he's into NFTs, but also videographer, photographer, and so we got together and we created this course. His name is Greg, and and I met him at Create PDC. So this collaboration came out of that meeting, and this is course Feed and Focus Brain Body Blueprint, helping people to, especially remote and digital nomads, to learn tools to keep their brain productive by taking care of the brain and of the body.
Yeah.
So it's free. When it came out, the Udemy called it free brain optimizer or something like that.
Free Brain Optimizer 3000.
But it was accurate, and it's very concise, just 1 hour, I think 15 minutes. And
Yeah.
we have more than 2,000, I think, students by now.
That's cool because we were speaking a little bit earlier. You said that you've been sort of living the nomad life for how many years now?
I think around 11.
Yeah,
12.
around 11. I first started doing that kind of thing like 8 or 9 ago. So I will respect you as my nomad elder. You've been going just a bit longer. But we were talking about the fact that like back in that day, like now it's easier than ever to begin this sort of lifestyle of just being able to go to Playa and continue working and stuff. Because there were a lot of bad things that sort of came out of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. But one good thing that came out of it, particularly for nomads and that kind of stuff, is that employers are way more into the idea now of letting you be wherever it is that you choose to be. But as we also discussed, when you first begin that life, it's not natural. Like it's very exciting at first, but eventually you need like some normal life kind of stuff.
Systems.
Yeah, you need systems. Like you need ways to live, and it seems like that's what.
The course is about. That's actually. Also my book that just came out.
Your book. Let me pull that up. Go back to my screen one.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's called. Brain Body Blueprint. It helps you to build systems that you need as a human being to maintain healthy body, great working brain, so you can enjoy your life being healthy and fit, and also produce a ton of work, right? Because people, when they start traveling and working remotely, they realize they don't have a routine. It kind of happened before. People go to work, people wake up at a certain time because that's when they need to be at work, or people like have days off because that's when they're off at work. But when you're remote and you can design your schedule and all the routines as you want, a lot of times you start to understand that you don't actually know how to do all of that.
Yeah,
it's like a lot
it's
of
a system
choices.
that was given to you by having to report to a place at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and you know.
Even food, like you would have, I don't know, breakfast and then you had lunch break and then probably dinner at the end of your work. When you can design your schedule as you want, now your schedule with your food also can be all over the place and sleeping and everything. And it screws up a lot of people at first.
Yeah, it really can. And actually, an extreme example of that for me is I lived in Southeast Asia for like a year. And
Where?
I lived I lived in Bali in Sanur, and once a month I would travel from there to another Southeast Asian country and explore for like a week. So I did this kind of star formation, went out to like Cambodia, Vietnam, that kind of stuff. But the reason why I ultimately left and came back to this side of the world is that with the time difference and me still needing to do business for like during U.S. business hours, I realized that I now had a complete absence of that system that you're talking about. And ultimately, I just began to sort of completely break down because you have to have those kind of things. Like, and if you get too far out of whack, it doesn't matter. Like, I remember one day I was literally standing in front of the most beautiful waterfall that I've ever seen thinking, man, I just really need some sleep. And it just was... It was difficult, and it was hard mode over there, and it made me appreciate coming back to this side of the globe, I would say. But circling back around to your book, this is it cannot be purchased yet. It can be pre-ordered.
I mean, you purchase it and then it's delivered to your either a Kindle app or your Kindle device if you have one, and it can be on Mac, computer, iPhone, or Android. And I'm also working on putting it on all the platforms. The idea is I want to give it to people. So if anyone wants it, in whatever way, for free or paid, just reach out to me and you can get it, because I think everyone should have these tools. I put only the stuff that is based on science, that works for every human being. And it's things like, you need to sleep on the same schedule. You need to get outside and expose yourself to light at a certain time of the day, or like eat certain things so your brain can work. And it's, one of those projects, it was like in my head. I don't know, as a creator, you're probably familiar with that. Like you get the idea and it's just in your head and you need to put it in the world. Otherwise, it's going to kill you.
Yeah, really, I think that creation in many ways, all it really is just figuring out the most appropriate way to get it out of your head and into something usable,
Yeah. And it's so cool after, sorry.
Excuse me.
When you get it out, it's like it was in your head and now it's in the world and people can interact
now
with it. It's just such a magical feeling. It's like, here it is.
Yeah. I really do. I think that's one of my favorite things about being a musician is that I get to have that experience, but like live. Like I get to create something and watch, and we like it. But at the same time, that can go negatively too, because there's always that guy in the corner that's like, I don't care about any of this. This is terrible. Like,
well, as in this book at the end, I also mentioned, all the while writing this book, I felt that there are better people who should write this book, and but because nobody is doing that, I had to do that. So, it's like,
hey, you got to do it. You got to do it. By the way, coming back to my screen real quick. This is entrepreneur.com.
In Spanish.
But yeah, what it does is it not only automatically translates titles and all that kind of stuff to Spanish, it looks like it literally translates everything to Spanish.
Exactly. And I'm like, I don't know any Spanish to do that thing, but articles in Spanish.
Well, that's if you're here in Playa. In the States, it would just be in English. And if you're here in Playa and using a VPN, I would presume it would also be in English.
In English, exactly.
Do you want to briefly explain what's going on here?
So I wanted to write for entrepreneur.com because I wanted to bring to get into people's head the idea that their lifestyle and their nutrition choices, like eating chocolate, for example, dark chocolate, can improve their work and how productive or creative that can be, because it's based on science, it's truth, and I want people who do the work, entrepreneurs who create businesses, who make the world better, to have these tools and to have the understanding. And this is kind of my way of trying to begin this school of thought, so to speak, for people to realize that what they put in their body, for example, in a lot of those articles, it really changes how their mind works and what they come up with by the end of the day. So these articles are mostly connecting nutrition and performance, productivity and focus, and things like flow states.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Like I've not looked into it too deeply myself, but I did have a personal experience a few years ago that I found interesting, where I went through a period where I tried intermittent fasting.
Yeah, I love it.
And what I found is that my brain goes way faster when I'm just like, oh my God, I'm hungry right now. Like when it's like I'm so like, oh my gosh, I want to eat something, that like it's almost like my brain got angry at these tasks. It's like, yeah, you know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna do these tasks right now.
But that's exactly what's happening, actually.
yeah, but it's the opposite too. Like if I eat a big old bowl of pasta, I'll be like, man, nobody needs to get that work done. Like
Yeah.
it's you know,
It's because, when you're hungry, your body actually releases stress hormones like adrenaline, for example, to get you going, to get the nutrition that
Yeah.
your brain needs. And that's why you feel a little bit on edge. And it also keeps you awake and alert. And that's why, you start working better and faster, and your body starts releasing also blood sugar to give your brain
Yeah.
the energy. And plus, no blood goes to your stomach, so it all goes to your brain, and it's like supercharged to deliver your best work. So
do you think that calls back to a time for humans like a long time ago where like if you're really hungry, you need to be alert
Yeah.
because you got to be out there like hunting and
definitely,
like trying to find some food because
Most
you know
of
there's
it.
no Rappy like in the Stone Age or whatever. And
most of it is based on our basic physiology and biology as we were, when we were cavemen or cave women. And yeah, you were hungry, you needed to go and get stuff done. That's why, you were also motivated and like, yeah. And when you get, food like pasta, meat, you're like, yeah, why bother? Save energy, rest
Yeah.
while you can.
yeah, like what do I have to do? I just ate a big bowl of Alfredo. You know, I'm good. Like there's no, yeah, no. I think that actually makes sense. And I remember thinking that during that time when I was doing that, that it was like right towards the end of the fast. That it was, I would literally like in that last hour be crazy productive because I just wanted to distract myself from the fact that like, ugh, like I could tell my body's needing something.
Yeah.
So tell me, excuse me, what is your, this is maybe a very gringo kind of expression, we say this, what's your meat and potatoes? Your, like, what is your main gig right now? What do you spend most of your time doing, and what would you say are the services that you provide more than anything right now? Like, for
Coaching
example, the team management, I think you mentioned.
Yes. Coaching remote teams and entrepreneurs through change of habits in their lifestyle, nutrition, things like, how to get yourself to focus. So those are behavior protocols, helping them to change, again, those habits to deliver their best work, to stay productive. Like, to give you an idea, for example, somebody can come to me and like, I want to be productive throughout most of my day. I don't want to feel sleepy in the morning. I don't want to feel sleepy in the afternoon, right? So how do I do that? And with each like team or company, I figure out the main pain points, like where the loss of productivity happens, or maybe if you have like brainstorming session, how can we improve creativity, or how can we make people more confident? Like as I shared with you, nutrition and lifestyle choices, they change how people feel. They change brain chemistry. So if somebody, for example, needs to feel more confident to deliver this presentation or sales call, how do they do that, right? So I help people to learn the tools, learn what they need to do, and most importantly, I help people to change behavior, to, like a lot of remote teams, I work with a lot of IT coders. They come to me because they either lose productivity, they're instead of focusing on work, they start focusing on games, TikTok videos, YouTube videos, and at the same time,
it's difficult.
yeah, or they care all about like home errands, like or doing this, then doing laundry, or not being able to tune out what's happening in their house, and at the same time, they report like they are burned out. And they feel like they're not rested all the time, like they don't recover enough during weekends, right? So also I help them to set up that kind of routine so they feel productive at work and they recover well to be productive at that work and to feel passionate and
Sure.
happy. So that's what I do, and if not that, I would go into, I don't know, some more esoteric stuff. But, as I was talking to a friend yesterday, I'm like, but I need to make money, so that's what I do.
It is necessary to make. It is a persistent situation that you do, in fact, need money. But with that said, let me see if I can solicit a little bit of advice from you for free, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes.
Because Juan and I just had a conversation. I want you to critique the solution that we've come up with our own productivity troubles. And we were just discussing yesterday about how sometimes, like, you don't want to just give up and not do anything and decide that you're going to be completely not productive. But at the same time, you don't really want to do anything either. Like, you don't really want to be sitting down intently working on something. Like, you don't have that kind of focus, but at the same time, you don't want to just stop altogether and not do anything. So what we agreed that the trade-off is, the acceptable trade-off is that you can kick back and you can be lazy physically, but we have to watch tutorial videos. Like, like if we're the TV that we watch, for instance, it has to be about
educational.
It has to be educational. It has to be about learning something that we're doing or progressing some other goal. So even though we're not actually working on it at the moment, our mind can be. And I'm really just looking for permission to watch YouTube here, and I'm hoping, like, she's a professional one, so if she says it's okay, it's okay. Like, that's the way it is. Now, what do you think about that strategy?
I mean, it's not about strategy. You're still doing something. The only thing I would recommend is maybe incorporate some movement into that. Like,
I do
walking.
this a lot, like, and then I'll come back to this. Like,
I can give you one advice to remember better what you watch, so you actually can use it in your work.
Yeah.
So neuroscience research shows that your brain remembers really well anything that comes before an episode of a little bit of adrenaline release, or basically stress.
Okay.
Right? So let's say you watch some YouTube video that taught you something. So maybe do a few burpees, like 5 of them. That actually will bring up your adrenaline levels.
It certainly would produce some anxiety with it.
But that's exactly what you want if you want your brain to remember stuff. Or without movement, another easier one is you do hyperventilation. What it looks like is...
Yeah.
Like, imagine you are running and that's how you breathe, right? That makes your brain release adrenaline, and that makes you remember what came before, because whenever you're stressed, for the brain it's a signal like, okay, something important is happening, we better remember.
Yeah, but I would presume you can't overdo that. Like, for example, if I watched a tutorial video and then went out on the Fifth Avenue and found somebody to slap across the face, like,
that can also work.
That in itself might be a little too far in the adrenaline.
Especially if you get punched back.
I'm gonna forget all about the tutorial video at that point.
No, you'd actually remember.
You think that? So that would lock it in more.
Yes.
Like me, just like
it's no joke.
It'd be like, I'm gonna learn this new mixing technique, and then I'm gonna go to 7-Eleven and just blatantly steal something and run away as fast as I can.
Yes, that would do that, and that's true.
I have learned something new today. I truly have. And it's your fault. Whatever it is I do now, it's you're responsible.
Now do some burpees so you remember later.
Yeah. Now I have to do something crazy.
But breathing, I think, is the easiest one for people anywhere, right? You can be at work or anywhere, and you learn something and you want to remember it better. So you just do this 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
And you increase your adrenaline in the brain, and you remember that better.
Yeah, and you probably also increase blood flow, I would think, too. That probably has something to do with it.
That actually also a great exercise to improve blood flow and help your brain to work better and stay more alert and awake.
With the breathing?
With the breathing.
Yeah, and the burpees.
Well, burpees, again,
and stealing
it's another
stuff from 7-Eleven.
Because it's kind of, that also going to make you breathe faster.
It most certainly will. I'll probably start breathing faster before I've even left the store.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So why don't we, I want to give you a few minutes towards the end here to just kind of plug whatever you want to plug. I know that you have a website and a blog. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, if you want to come back to my screen, Juan, I would really just like you to explain why it is that I'm looking at a picture of you with Buzz Aldrin
Yeah.
and George Takei.
It,
A fictional and non-fictional spaceman in the
yes,
same picture.
it was my 28th birthday in the U.S. Kennedy Space Center. And before that, I was in Russia and I had a vision board and I knew about that event happening on my birthday. And I'm like, I want to go there because I'm such a fan geek. I watched all Star Trek episodes, the series from the first one to the last one twice. And I always like had this kind of also dream to become a space health coach at some point. So I wanted to go there. I'm like, I need to see the man who stepped on the moon. And
Come back to
also
my screen. One. This is another picture of you with the man that stepped on
and
the
the
moon.
funny thing, also about manifestation, I thought like, wouldn't it be cool if he just came up to me and talked to me? And he actually did.
Well, he clearly did. He clearly did, or he's like, which way is the bathroom again? Like, you both are kind of facing the same.
He asked me, I'm from Siberia originally. He asked me about space bases in Siberia that I didn't know anything about.
I mean, don't they just tell everybody in Siberia about what's going on with the space bases? Like, shouldn't that be common
not
knowledge?
From that space, that's part of the Siberia. So anyhow, I'm a space geek. I guess I wanted to kind of say that everyone has their passions and different, hobbies or geeky things. And I think everyone should engage with them and pursue them because it's part of their personality for whichever reason, right? And also manifestation works. When you put something in a vision board.
Clearly. I mean, Buzz Aldrin just rolled up,
So yeah.
That's cool. And you said that you met Neil deGrasse Tyson as well,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
In New York, is that right?
In New York. I lived in New York. That's when it started for about 3 years.
That's
at that
where
time.
it began.
On Upper West Side, that's where the Museum of Natural History is, and Neil deGrasse Tyson is the director or
Yeah, he's the director of the planetarium, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So and they have.
I called him the other day. We talk all the time.
But that's the thing. I meet almost everyone who I envision on my board. So.
That's cool.
I went to these lectures that were after hours, like I think it was 8, and a lot of scientists would come and give lectures about different things. And before one of the lectures he presented, he was talking about something about planetarium in general. And then I came up to him and talked for a little bit, that I was such a huge fan and about some of his work, some of his shows and book. He came out also with a book, I think, at that time. And I had a selfie even. I didn't bring it with me, but I do have a selfie with him.
You have a Nielsen, a Nielsen? You have a Nielsen with deGrasse Tyson?
Yes.
I don't believe it.
I'll send it to you.
A selfie with Neil deGrasse
But that's the
Tyson.
freaky thing, whoever I imagine myself like the leader or, thought leader or author or something, I would literally either bump into them or go to the event and they would just, they would come up to me for some reason.
Okay. So what's the average turnaround time? How long does manifesting if we were to put this to the test and you tell us somebody on that board now and we make a note to check with you a year from now, which is even realistic. I mean, you're the first guest on this podcast, so I mean, stands to reason that perhaps episode 50, you're coming back, but I want to be able to call back to okay, at this time I had not met this person, but they were on that radar. Who would you say?
It's like with exercise, the more intense you are, the more consistent you are with your manifestation, the faster it's going to come to fruition. Meaning, if you think about it, if you focus on it every day with your energy, feeling like you are in that vision, you really, in it, the faster it's going to come to fruition. If you remember about that vision once a month, probably going to take 10 years.
Okay.
So, with this Buzz Aldrin vision, it was about 2 months.
So that was specific. You were like Buzz Aldrin. He's the one.
I would just look at that picture of that gala, anniversary of moon landing, and I'm like, I didn't have U.S. visa at that time, but I'm like, I'm going to be there on my birthday, and I don't know how. And so I get the visa, and I went there, and it was quite easy.
So what was the first thing that you said to Buzz Aldrin? Did you freak out? Oh my God, it's Buzz Aldrin! Or do you like it, Mr. Aldrin? How did you begin
Yeah, he kind
speaking?
of wandered towards my corner. I think it was a quieter part of the evening.
Yeah.
And we just shook hands, and I don't even remember how I started talking to him. I just told him, I'm from Siberia, like I'm here for, my birthday for this specific event. And that's when he came back with like, or I heard about space, bases in Siberia. Like,
Yeah.
dude, do you know anything about it?
Yeah.
I don't
Hey,
know.
you're from You must have heard something. You're from Siberia.
Yeah, so, and that was
Well, that's
probably
cool.
about that.
Who do we want to manifest in? Like, who's another? Is there anybody on your list now that you want to manifest like Buzz Aldrin?
At the moment, I actually, well, I do want to meet Elon
She's like,
Musk.
I cleared off my list.
Elon Musk. I want to meet
Musk.
that
Okay.
guy.
You know what? I want to meet Elon Musk.
Somebody
So
should have said that on the comments.
yeah. So there we go. So we are going to test the power of manifestation.
I'm thinking when he goes to Mars, I'm going to be space health coach on his rocket.
Yeah. You need to go train all the people on Mars.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to try to manifest Elon Musk. A good Buzz Aldrin takes about 60 days with these right now. That's the going rate. So we're going to give Musk like 6 months just in case because he's a little busier. Buzz is.
Yeah,
He's probably
yeah.
mostly retired. I would think. I would have to think he's like 90, right? Like
Yes, probably. Yeah, I'm not sure, but
Cool. So I'm going to do two things. We're getting near the end of the podcast, and this last section of it I'm going to refer to as the shameless plug section. Beginning with us, this is Fifth Avenue Sounds. This is a recording studio, the room that you see us in right now, the thing that you see us doing. All this stuff is all stuff that we do for other people and allow them to come do. The other side is devoted to music production, singles, Spotify stuff, all sorts of things. It is a full-blown recording studio here in Playa del Carmen, about a block from the beach. And this is one of the things that we do in it. And there could be things that you do in it as well. So if that's something that interests you, reach out to us. You can reach us at Fifth Avenue Sounds on most things. We have an info at fifthavenuesounds.com email, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to reach out on that if you want any other information. Also, fifthavenuesounds.com is there and has lots of information as well. And we would love to see you. So,
yeah.
kicking
So awesome, that you have this studio now. If any podcasters or like friends of mine come here, I'll let
Definitely,
them
and this is the quietest room in Playa del Carmen. That's what I
Yes.
call it. Like with this particular room we're in, we've done substantial soundproofing on, and it's already in a pretty quiet spot of the building. So, very quiet in here. Very good place to do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'd like to throw out a shout out to Create PDC.
Yes.
The next meetup is, if I'm not mistaken, Monday. Right, Monday. What's it? 7 p.m. 6. That's sign language that I can't. just say it. What is it? 6:30. Okay. 6:30, also known as this.
Up, down, cars, and a
And that's at Freaky Tiki. Is that right?
Correct.
All right. That's not the Lost Tiki. No worries. Nobody knows where that one's at. This is the Freaky Tiki. So yeah, if you're interested in meeting other creators, that kind of stuff here in Playa, 6:30, Freaky Tiki, Monday night. I'm going to kick it over to you, Angela. Feel free to tell people how to reach you, what you can do for them. Talk about your website if you want.
Well, I think one of the major things right now is my book, Fit and Focus Brain Body Blueprint. It's neuroscience-based habits, hacks, tools for remote pros and digital nomads. Basically, everything we talked about, this blueprint, how to make your body, your brain work, how to set up those routines so you feel your best anywhere in the world. It's like we have this machine, this body, brain, and we know we need to kind of know how it works so we could feel good and do good in this world, right? So it's on Amazon and going to be on a lot of other platforms soon. The second thing, if any of the listeners or people who watch us on YouTube want to improve the way they feel, their productivity, their focus, the amount of work they produce, how they look, everything kind of, again, brain body blueprint.
Sure.
And they might be struggling with, not knowing what to do or changing their habits, then also please do reach out to me. That's what I do. I've been doing that for more than 11 years now. And if somebody has a remote team, of coders or just anyone who works remotely, they're just not as productive, I also help teams and companies to get their productivity up to speed with their ambitions. And my podcast, Food School, Smarter, Stronger, Leaner, Monday to Friday.
Spotify, right?
Spotify and everywhere. iTunes and Android podcast, I don't know, everywhere. So yeah, Monday to Friday, you can hear from me. And yeah, my website, brainbreakthroughcoach.com. That's where you can go to see what I do for work, and also where you can click and pre-order my book.
The End of Procrastination.
Yes,
I'm going to save that to watch later.
Yes, it's one of the best videos, actually. It's where in stories I tell people how their brain works and how to cancel procrastination, how to learn not to procrastinate, what to do with your brain when it starts to tell you stories why you shouldn't do things.
Cool. All right. And you also have a blog as well, right, on Substack?
Yeah, Brain Breakthrough Lifestyle. It's it's where I write most of my articles. I'm going to be creating more content there as I learn how to use the platform. It's basically a really good platform for any creator who wants to create their 1,000 true fans who will pay for their work and help them to create their work and make a living off it. They have free subscriptions, they have paid subscriptions, and you can put there all kinds of content, video, audio, written, and it's all in one place. So a very cool thing that they do. And that's it, I think.
Yeah, and finally you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes, Brain Breakthrough Coach YouTube channel. Before I used to do a lot of weight loss, health coaching videos there, nutrition videos. Now it's getting more to brain coaching and everything that has to do with neuroscience, health, and performance. So yeah, I like creating content. I love it, so I have a lot of platforms. And that's why I'm also very grateful for you giving me the opportunity to speak for the whole hour. Just
cool.
One of my favorite things to do.
Happy to do it. It's a good time. And that's really what we want to do. We are doing another one of these on Tuesday, the 28th. June 28th is going to be episode 2. On the alternate Tuesday, that's not this Tuesday, we do another podcast that is predominantly in Spanish, but it's about local musicians and original music called Sonidos Independientes. So feel free to check that out. That is available on the Fifth Avenue Towns YouTube page, as well as playback of this podcast as well. But yeah, I think
where this podcast is going to be. So
this podcast is on the Fifth Avenue Sounds YouTube channel. I believe it is also on the Create PDC Facebook page, or will definitely be shared there, because this will all be available for playback, and we'll share it out to various places. You'll have a link, you can share it out yourself, that kind of stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, so from Fifth Avenue Sounds, Miss Angela Shurina. Shurina. Thank you for joining us. I believe that is going to conclude episode 1. Feel free to reach out to anybody involved here, any of the contact stuff that you found, and be on the lookout for the next episode. But for now, I think that is going to do it for the very premiere episode of Playa del Creators.
That's awesome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.